evening, everyone. Hope you're all keeping well. So, thanks for coming back for week 6. Hope you had a couple of good weeks. It's been a couple of weeks since the last one, so good half term if you were having the time off and that kind of thing. Yeah, today we're going to be pushing on doing a couple more exercises from the book, which actually I realised I've forgotten to take the book out, so woe me. Yeah, just a couple of things just to remind you of would be just to turn off any emails and things like that, any other notifications and that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is go back over exercises 11 to 13 today. So they're the ones we did last time. Well, I think actually it was 11 and 12 were the new ones that we did. And then we'll have a go at number 13 today and move on. Hopefully number 14, if we get to it, number 15 as well. So if you have any questions about any of the first few exercises, and please do fire away. But other than that, I think we're pretty much good to go. So let's check our tuning to begin with. So our top E string is going to sound like this. So obviously just adjust if you need to. And then the B. And then G. And D. And A. And then our bottom E string. Okay, jolly good. So remember posture as well. We're going to have hopefully one of our feet raised up. So at the moment I've got my right foot raised and the guitar sitting over my right leg. If you're going for classical posture, it'd be your left foot raised and the guitar over the left leg, something like that. So whatever is comfortable for you really. So let's have a think about the exercises we started last time. So in fact we're going to do a warm-up of exercise 7, that's what I suggested. So if we all turn to page 8 and the mill. So the warm-up is, as it sounds, just an opportunity just to kind of get the fingers moving. If you've got any questions about previous exercises, do fire away, especially if there's anything you're practicing and you're thinking, oh, not quite sure on that aspect or whatever. Yeah, just fire away. But let's start then with number 7, so the mill. So we're just going to play it together. So after 4, we've got the repeat marks, so we will play it twice, like each line twice, I mean. So without further ado, let's give it a go. So after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting on the A's. It's G. 2, 2, 2, and back to the A's, 2, 2, and then the A again, and go back to the beginning, 3, 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Okay, and actually, while we were playing that, it made me, or reminds me of a question that we had at the end of week 5, where we were talking about the E minor and the E chords, and someone asked what would that look like on a musical stave, and I couldn't think of it off the top of my head, but actually, if you turn to page 18 in the book and exercise 23, so if I just put the screen up here, so skip forward a little bit. So this bit down at the bottom here, this is what it looks like. So I think I said at the time, sorry, let me just change that to that. It looks a bit daunting, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, we haven't learned most of these notes yet, and we will do. And at which point you'll be able to sort of decipher what's what. And after a while, when if you're looking at this kind of thing quite frequently, you'll start to recognise them. But to be honest, most of the time, if I was looking at a piece of music, I've not played it before, and I saw a load of notes written like that indicating a chord, I'd have to just sit and go through it just to double check I've read it right. It's not necessarily the sort of thing that you can just kind of read straight off and play perfectly, particularly if it's unusual chord, an unusual chord of some sort. So anyway, hopefully that answers that question from last time. So back to the normal screen. So the exercises then that we tried last time were number 11 and 12. So if we turn to exercise 11, which is on page 11. So this is the winding path exercise. And if you remember, we talked about how to play this with the right hand. And we talked about the difference between free stroke and rest stroke. And with this one, we want the notes to ring out as much as possible, hence the words let ring written above the staves there. And so when we pluck the strings, if I come around this way, we want our fingers to come sort of away from the strings. If you can, try and avoid that sort of motion. I've seen that quite a lot in the past where you say play it free stroke and the hand flies off all over the place. Often I'll keep my thumb resting on the sixth string, and then that movement, even that's quite big really, but try and minimise that movement as much as we can. I wouldn't worry too much about that, for now, just try not to have your hand pinging off and away. So, in terms of the exercise itself, we've got the notes B and E in the first bar, then A and B in the next one, G and B, and then a few other notes at the end of the line, and then it's all quite similar after that. We've got some quavers, we've got some crotchets, and we've got the semi-breve at the end. We've got the repeat mark, so we're going to play it twice as well. So, as I said, do fire away if you've got any questions, otherwise we're going to have a go at it now. Just give it your best shot really and see how we get on. So, after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to beginning. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so hopefully that was all making sense and everything came through okay. I've had a comment say, great, thanks for the explanation. I think that was in relation to the chords that we were talking about earlier, but thanks for the feedback as well. Okay, so before we go on to the next exercise, let's have a go at our E minor chords and our E major chord. So the E major is the one written underneath exercise 11. E minor is on the previous page. So it's the same thing, just without the first finger. So remember E minor, we're going to put our middle finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret, and then our 3rd finger goes directly underneath on the 4th string at the 2nd fret. So once we've got our things in place, we then just strum all the strings and hopefully you get a nice clear kind of sound like that. Particularly watch out for this 3rd finger here to make sure it's not angling down and beating that 3rd string. That's one of the most key notes within this chord, so we want to make sure that's nice and clear. Okay, so after 4 everybody, we're just going to do 1 strum on E minor. So 3, 4 and strum. Okay, and hopefully that is what yours sounded like. So I lifted my hand away, hopefully you didn't, but if you did, pop the things back on, and so we've got the 5th string 2nd fret with the middle finger, 4th string 2nd fret with the 3rd finger, with the ring finger, and then we're going to add our 1st finger to the 3rd string at the 1st fret, and this makes it E major. So the only difference between these two chords is whether this finger is on or off, but it is a really big difference. So remember, I think we said you know, the major chords sound happy and the minor chords sound sad. So if this is our E minor, has a slightly more melancholic kind of feel, and the E major has a slightly happier, lighter kind of sound. So fingers in place for the E major chords. So after 4 again, so 3, 4 and cool. And again, hopefully you'll sound it like that, and it's all good. So let's turn the page. We will be coming back to chords in the not too distant future, by the way. We're going to be having a look at another one, probably not today, but so we will be building on that a bit. So even if we don't talk about them every week, try and keep practicing so that you can drop into these shapes, you know. So as your hand, I didn't do a very good example there, but if you lift your hand away, can you just kind of drop it back in? Obviously, if you're strumming chords, you're not going to be moving your hand away like that anyway, but you know, we're just going to drop into whatever chord we need to as and when we do. So, turn to page 12 and exercise 12, we had our new note C. So this is the 2nd string at the 1st fret. I'll just put the page back on again. It's when the note, few pages, sorry. Where are we? Here. So when that note is in the 2nd space from the top, that tells us it's the note C. It's always the note C, and that note is always the 2nd string at the 1st fret. So remember, the strings are not always as obvious as you might think. So string 1 is the one closest to the floor, string 6 is the one closest to the ceiling. So string 1, string 2. So our B string, 1st fret on the 2nd string there. So hopefully yours sounds like that. And in this exercise, we're just changing between the notes C and B. So we've got our minims in the first bar for 2 beats. Then we've got crotchets, which are our 1 beat note. And then at the end, we have the semi-breve, which lasts for 4 beats. We've also got our repeat mark. So we go back and play the whole thing again. The first line I've got written down to play quietly, and the second line to play louder. Feel free to give that a go. I think I probably mentioned the other week, typically when I'm in private lessons, I'm more interested in people playing things in time and playing the right notes than whether they are getting the volume kind of up and down and that kind of thing. So yeah, just do what you can with that. Even if it's nothing, it's all good. So, after 4 then, exercise 12. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, C again, change to B for 4, we come back to C, we stay on the C, and then go to the B, 2, I'm going to go louder possibly, hold those notes, 2, and then to the B, and C, semi-breathe, so 3, 4, and back to the beginning, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a bit louder if possible, 2, 3, 4, B's, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good stuff. Okay, so as always, if you played along and it all went fine, then please do give yourself a pat on the back. Well done. And we are going to move on. So looking at exercise 13, it's all quite similar to exercise 12. We're just adding, I think it's just the note B back in. So we're focusing on our C and B, the ones we just played, and then E being our first string. So we just add that one back in. So the very first note of exercise 13 is your E there. Now, we've still got our dynamics going on. So on the first line, we're fairly loud. Well, loud is the correct definition. And then as we come onto the second line, we go quieter. And then that sort of arrow thing that's underneath bars 6 and 7 there, that's telling us we want to get louder. So in bar 5, the first bar of the second line, we're nice and quiet. And gradually over bars 6 and 7, we want that volume to come up so that we're nice and loud by the time we get to bar 8. And then obviously when we go back to do the repeat, we'd stay loud, but then drop our volume at the start of the second line again, and then gradually build it up. Now, you know, again, these things are a lot easier said than done most of the time. So again, just do your best with it. It's the same kind of principle if we're starting quiet. So if I just demonstrate on the B string, you know, if we're here and we want to get to something like that, and we just kind of take our time, you know, and this is a good exercise to do just as practice, really. So can you? I don't know if that comes across particularly well or not, but yeah, just basically start low and go high. And you just practice that on one note, that's absolutely fine. And just try and get the idea down, and then hopefully as you play it in the piece of music, you sort of drop that idea in, and it just adds a little bit of colour to your playing, particularly if you're playing on your own. You know, so obviously a lot of the backing tracks that I've created for this, there's various different instruments going on and being played and that, and so these sort of dynamics are less, perhaps not necessarily less needed, but they can be less obvious at times as well. So yeah, particularly when we're playing on our own, this is a good one to try and add in. So let me play it to you first. So I'll count you through. I won't bother doing the repeats. We'll just play it once, just so you get an idea of what's going on, and then we'll try it together. So in fact, I'll just double check if that's how I've normally been doing it. Yeah. So number 13 then, so this is how it's going to sound, so I'll count myself in anyway. Okay, so starting nice and loud, so 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go quiet, 2, 3, 4, and then just gradually try and pick the volume up a little bit. 2, 3, 4, and then we'd carry on, go back to the beginning and play it again. Okay, so that's how it should go. I usually demonstrate this stuff twice, and that's okay. Let me play it again, and this time I'm going to say the note names out loud as we go. So after 4, so 3, 4. So we start on E, C, then our open B, back to C, 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 B, and go a bit quiet. E, and then the C, and on our Bs, we're going to start building up. So C, E, C, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is just pop the backing track on so you can have a listen to it. This one I did actually try to record in the style of the Gypsy Kings. So if any of you know the Gypsy Kings, then let me know if you think I succeeded or not. Right. Here we go. Just takes a second to load up. Okay, cool. So hopefully you like that one. What I would say, I should have mentioned this at the end, if you're playing along with the backing track, is in bar 8, you might want to count the rhythm, because the strumming sort of changed from this sort of fairly steady kind of, it changed from that into something else. I can't remember quite what I did, but so yeah, as you get to it, just, you know, on that 1, 2, 3, 4, just count 2, 3, 4, and then back in again. Hopefully you'll be alright with that. It'd be interesting to hear how you get on actually next week, whether you found that too off-putting or not. I know I've played with people before. I remember one particular instance where I was playing with a drummer, and it was his turn to do a drum fill, and he would go round and it would all be fine, it was all quite steady, and then one of them he just did this crazy drum fill that just nobody was expecting, and because no one was counting, it was suddenly like, what's going on? So it can be very off-putting, but if you know it's there, you can sort of, account for it basically. So okay, so we're going to move on to number 14 on track. So again, we're just kind of adding some of these the notes we did learn in the past back into the mix a bit. So on number 14, we've got G's, A's, B's, C's, and E's, which I think is actually all the notes we've learned so far. So, number 14 then, I'll play it to you. I'll say the note names first, then I'll count the timing on the repeat, and then we'll have a listen to the track afterwards. So, obviously, if you've got any questions, do fire away as we're going. If you want to try playing along, go for it. But yeah, here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. G, G, A, B, C, Good. Sorry, I said I was going to say the notes, I think, on the first run through, and I started and completely forgot. So hopefully you get the picture anyway. So let's have well, actually no, one thing before we listen to the track, I just want to make clear. So say we're looking at bar 2, we've got those 2 minims there on the C. So sometimes if I'm playing it, I might count 2, 2. So when I'm doing that, I'm playing the note, and just it's almost like a reminder that I need to leave that space for a second beat. I'm not worried about what beat of the bar that actually is. The other way I did it was to count the beats in the bar. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the timing is still the same, it's just how we're counting it. And I mix it up a little bit so that hopefully you get a feel for, you know, what, like if you're playing at home, you might just count the 2s afterwards. 2, 2, 2, that kind of thing. If you're feeling more confident, you could count the beats in the bar. It's always really good to know where you are in the bar and what beat you're on and that kind of thing. But obviously, when you're in the early stages of playing in that, that's just another thing to be thinking about that you probably don't want to. So yeah, that just explains that a little bit. So let me pop this back to the right page and put the track on. We'll have a listen to that. So here we go. Okay, good stuff. So, as you probably heard, we're back on the rock stuff on that particular recording. So, good luck with that one. And just to finish off with today, I'd like to have a look at the 5-note recap just under exercise 14. So, as it suggests, it's just recapping the 5 notes we've learned so far. And if you see in the blue box underneath that, there's a couple of ideas that we can sort of work on with that, just to help us really get the notes down. You know, do you know how to play them? Do you know what they're called? You know, what string are they on? That kind of thing. So what we're going to do, I've written it so we go basically G, A, B, C, E. We can play it slower in a minute, so don't worry about that. But what we're going to do is play it forwards and then backwards again. And I'm going to say the note names out loud. That's a good thing for you to practice at home as well. And once you feel you can do it, can you also close the book and play it and see how well you're remembering the various notes and things. Obviously, we're learning to read notes, and so really the music should always be in front of us. However, there are scenarios like, you know, if you ever go out and play, usually people they wouldn't have music in front of them to read off, they'll just be playing. So knowing where our notes are is a good thing to do for a step, you know, probably way down the line, but a step nonetheless. So, okay. So after 4 then, the 5-note recap, we'll try it together, just do as best you can, and we'll see how we go. So 3, 4, G, 2, and then we do it again in reverse. 2, C, B, A, G, 2, 3, 4. So appreciate timing wise, like playing it in reverse, it's kind of, it's not quite as written, but we just, exactly how you do it doesn't really matter. Whether you kept in time with what I played there, again, isn't crucial. It's just about, can you go up and down those notes? G, A, B, C, E, C, B, A, G. That's where we want to go. Just a bit slower is your target, really. So, and that is a good place for us to finish up. So I would suggest this week, because the 5-note recap is basically quite straightforward, I would say. There's nothing new in it, and it's just kind of reiterating things. So we'll make that the warm-up for this week. You want to keep thinking about your E minor and your E chords, see if you can work on making those differences between the chords sound nice and tidy. And then our new exercises were, I've shut it up now, but I think it was 13 and 14. So that's, just sorry, bear with me a second. Yeah, so 13 Gypsy Prince and 14 on track. As always, I've got the backing tracks up online, so either listen back to this or have a listen to those. Practice them on your own first, try and get the tune down a bit, even if it's a bit slow, then pick up the tempo a little bit and try playing along with the demo track, and then eventually play along with the backing track. So yeah, if you've got any questions, obviously feel free to ask away. If you enjoyed the lesson, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't made a donation and you're in a position to do so, please go ahead and do that. Really appreciate it. And otherwise, we will be back again next week for week 7, and we'll just be pushing on, doing a little bit more from the book, and recapping anything. So, like I say, any questions, do ask away. But otherwise, I'll send a link round at some point next week for the next live stream, and I will see you same sort of time next Thursday. So all the best, and see you again soon. Okay. Bye bye.